Beats here from Pop Turner. Speaking to Braedyn Bruner about Break, which is now in limited theaters and will be available on VOD and digital very soon as well. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You know, it's interesting because I love a movie like this where, the world of billiards and pool is a world that a lot of people don't really know about. And I love watching movies where you dive into all these different worlds, similar with the Bear and like the worlds of restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
What was it like reading the script, knowing that you're going to be kind of diving into a world that not many people might be familiar with the world of pool, so to speak?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was one of those people. I was a little bit intimidated when I saw that it was about pool, but the fun thing about my character Millie is she doesn't know about that world, and so I got to tap into that real life part. But yeah, when I got the script, I read it like I would anything else in my inbox, and I knew this one felt really, really special, and I'm so lucky that I get to be a part of it.
What was it like when you got the script? What was it like? I read it. I got it. I opened it.
Yeah.
And I read
Well, I was really thankful because sometimes, you get scripts in your inbox where you get just the scene, or sometimes you get fake sides even.
Yep.
But in this case, I got the real sides for 2 of the scenes that are actually in the movie. And I also got all 120 some odd pages of the actual script. So I got to read it front to back and really kind of figure out the whole story, which is really, really nice. And you don't often get that.
You can say this for Millie, you can say this for a lot of the characters, but a lot of these characters in Break are lost figuring things out. They don't know what's going on with their lives. They don't know what the next step is. It's self-reflection. And those are kind of those movies that you love to see, the slice of life component of coming of age. But with this one, the stakes are really high for a lot of characters. So I'm just curious for you from an acting perspective, Braedyn, is it more fun or more kind of like overwhelming or challenging playing these kind of lost characters? Because I think the crazy thing is a lot of them don't realize they're lost if you think about it.
No, yeah, that's very true. I think for Millie in particular, I think it's easy to write her off as, yes, she's privileged, but I think the cool thing about her is she's just as lost as everyone else.
Yep.
I mean, her friends that she's hanging out with aren't really her friends. Her dad is just as absent, if not more than Eli's, if you really think about it. I mean, she's living alone in a guest house of like a 6,000 plus square foot home.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's where me and Eli kind of come to heads that you see in the movie is like, he's like, we're so different, but I'm like, we're really not though. I might not know the world of pool and I might not come from, a low socioeconomic background.
Yes.
But internally, I'm struggling just as much as you are, just as much as Victor is, just as much as like all these other characters that you're seeing. So, yeah, I think that's important to note.
How did you look at it in regards to the billiards pool kind of component and like the competition component of things when you're working on a movie that has sports in it? Are you working on a sports movie or are you working on a movie about life that happens to have sports in it? Because that's so interesting to me.
I do think it starts with life with any script that you're given. I think it's humanity. I mean, it's what's going on behind the scenes. It's why are we betting so much money on these games? Like what's really going on here? And like tell me about that, because what it is, Eli's not just playing to play. Eli's playing for a goal, and he's playing to get his sister into a special school that they cannot afford. And I think yes, it's sports, but I also think it's much deeper than that.
No, absolutely. Some of my favorite sports movies are not even sports movies. They just happen to have sports in them. And I just find that so crazy because it's like you could make an argument that movies that they're not, there's no such thing as a sports movie. They're like coming of age movies that and they play sports.
Exactly. So much going on.
It's so crazy. When you're acting, I know you're in the zone, you're figuring out the character and the scenes and everything. There's got to be maybe some kind of moments where you're thinking about the audience and, figuring out reactions of audiences, because the end goal of making a movie, making Break, is people are going to see it. You know what I mean? At some point, right? Do you ever think about that while you're filming the movie, or does the being conscious of the audience just happen mainly after you wrap?
I want to say that's more in the after, because if I thought that during the process, I would probably drive myself insane. Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing, every movie, every TV show is gonna have some critic who's gonna have something to say about it. And I think
Yeah.
it all lies in like the truth. And if you're getting to the truth of the story, if you're getting to the truth in what you're saying, then I think you're doing a job well
Yeah.
done.
That's
Um,
well said. I was thinking mainly maybe like base camp or like popping in a video village and seeing something. Maybe it's like, ooh, like people are gonna love this. Like I don't think that really counts as like thinking about the audience, but I feel like sometimes it might happen around lunch, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I was I don't want to say like not privileged because that's not true, but during filming, I think Will, our director, was so great in like allowing us creative freedom, but he was very specific on, I don't want you to see anything until it's completely done and like it's gone through the editing and it's been through the process and then we can talk about it. And I really appreciated that because it did help I think all of us kind of get out of our head and just really dive into our characters more and just be present.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also really interesting too, especially with indie film. So much happens before you go to camera with a project because things change. From a script perspective, from a just aesthetic perspective, so much happens. In a lot of ways, I feel like before filming and after filming are two separate journeys from an acting storyteller perspective. But a lot of actors see it as kind of one big journey with multiple steps because it's the goal is the end product, right? How do you see it specifically? Maybe it depends, or maybe with break specifically. Is it one journey or like two journeys?
That's a really interesting question. I want to say it was one really long, great journey.
With
I
like
think
98 steps.
yeah, with like a many steps to get there, especially because it is a sports movie too.
Yeah.
It's not the same in terms of, yes, we're getting like our close-up shots of me, and then we're getting close-up shots of Eli, of Victor, of all these other characters. You're also getting so many insert shots and
Yes.
action shots of every time they're hitting the ball, we reset. Okay, now we need to hit this ball. Now we reset. Now I need your reaction of seeing that ball, and then we're reset.
The
Like
longest game of pool of all time on
the
break.
longest game of pool I've ever seen in my life. And it's multiple scenes. And I'm not even in all of the pool scenes. I'm in the scene at the frat house where they're playing pool. And I'm in a couple of the final scenes when they're
The
playing pool.
frat house scenes are cool scenes.
Yeah. One of the most fun to shoot too. Those were all night shoots. Very long hours, but a lot of fun.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. I didn't even think about the inserts because I feel like, me being a creative as well, there are kind of those like shots you really need to get, but you really need to get those inserts so you have room to play around and post.
Yeah, it's a lot. I can't imagine the editor and what you went through to get where it is.
What was the feeling of reading the script for this? And then because there was a screening premiere for the movie recently.
Yeah.
It looked like the best time ever.
Yeah.
Like what was that like for you? Kind of seeing what you read kind of come to life on a screen, because I feel like that's like the coolest thing, to be honest with you. Like I think that's so cool.
Yeah, and for me, I didn't get to see anything while we were filming. I didn't see anything during that editing process. I saw the trailer drop, and then I essentially saw it on the big screen for the first time with like 300 plus other people the other night when we did that premiere. So it was wild, but in a really, really great and rewarding way. And also when you're filming, at least for us, and I know a lot of other productions, we're filming everything out of order. So everything we filmed in the diner was filmed on day one. And that was done in one day. And then we're moving on to everything in the frat house that was filmed in one night. And then we're moving on to everything that we filmed in Detroit. We also shot in 2 different states. And so see, it's out of order, and I'm not getting to see it until it's finally done. It was, nerve-wracking a little bit too on my end because I'm like, I hope I did it justice, but also just trusting again in your truth and what you've done. But then seeing it on the big screen is really rewarding and really awesome.
I feel like it's so interesting because I feel like in terms of like the life of an actor, like misconceptions and everything, I think, there's the whole it's really on to the next. Like you go, you film this movie, you wrap, and then it's just like, great, this was the best time ever. I met really cool people. See you when it's out.
You know no, literally. Yeah.
And then there's also the thing that like, actors, like the misconception that like actors know what's happening, like when everything's gonna come out, which is not
All your family is like, what is Braedyn? Is her movie out yet?
Your family probably assumes like everything after you wrap. So it's gonna come out this summer, right, Braedyn? And you're like, yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, guys, I'm in the same boat as you. I know everything I know, and vice versa.
I think for TV is crazy too, because I know you have a lot of like actor friends that are in TV shows as well. And I find that's the craziest because it's like season to season. You see people's like comments on like Instagram, like just assuming like the assumptions there that they think they know what's gonna happen in the next season.
Yeah. No, I'm like, they don't know, man.
What is the feeling when you wrap a project like this? Because it's a lot of things, right? It's a bitter like wrapping a project. I feel like is always going to be bittersweet, right? But like, are you totally exhausted? Are you ready for the next project? Is it a little bit of both? Like, what's going through your mind when you wrap this movie?
It's 100% I'm ready for the next project.
Okay.
I think especially for most people in the industry right now, at least that I've talked to, friends and whatnot. I mean, strike we know happened, and then post strike it's just been a weird time, honestly. And I think the few auditions that we have coming in, like you want to have that freedom, and you're just having fun with it as you should every audition, but you're also just ready to work. And it's with anything else, I've got to let it go too, on the other hand, because you can't dwell. You have to move on to the next thing. But it can be hard sometimes. And but definitely ready for the next thing. I'm not tired at all.
No, absolutely. No, for sure. And people are going to be able to see Break in some movie theaters, which is really exciting in the US. And then very soon it's going to be available VOD on digital, so people are going to be able to watch it at home, which is exciting. Braedyn, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me again. I've had a blast.
Yeah, I know. I really appreciate it. Your Instagram account is just your name if people want to keep update with everything, right?
Yep. Braedyn Bruner. That's it.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can catch Braedyn Bruner as Millie in Break, which is in theaters now, will be available very soon on VOD and digital. Till next time, this is Braedyn and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.